Okay, how's it going, everybody? So I'm still having trouble with my Explain Everything app. I can't seem to get logged in. So I'm going to do this a little bit old school using my camera from my phone, and I've got it set up. It's kind of a crazy contraption, but at least that way you'll be able to see what I'm doing on the whiteboard here, and I'll just go through the lesson this way. So there may be some points where I'm pausing it to get back lined up if I get out of whack or whatever. So okay. So real quick, we're going to start about reviewing what we did on Monday with adding decimals. And if we remember about adding decimals, that we want students to relate those to fractions because the decimals and fractions are basically the same thing. So they're both parts of numbers. Therefore, we can use the same diagram that we use for fractions as we do for decimals. So I start off like this. And then what you'll see today is I'll probably show it a little bit differently than I did on Monday because Monday we wanted like a thorough example of how to do them. And today we're going to try and be a little bit more efficient so that the procedure is not quite as cumbersome as it was on Monday. So the first thing to do is break this up into tenths. And it's always going to be tenths when we're talking about decimals because decimals are based on base 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so there's my tenths. And now what I need to show is that in this I have 0.4 shaded in, and so I can pick any that I want. So I'm just going to shade in 4 of them here. So there's 1, there's 2, here's number 3, and of course that's 4. And then what was a little bit different than what we did on Monday was I now want my students to start to realize that because these are both in tenths, 0.4 and 0.3, that means I'm dealing with the same size pieces. If I'm dealing with the same size pieces, there's no need to do another rectangle over here and draw it because the pieces are the same. So I can literally just add 3 more tenths to this one that I've already drawn because they are the same size pieces. We only need to draw 2 different boxes if we have 2 different size pieces. So what I'm left with then is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of a total of 10. So that's 7 tenths like that. Okay, so that's how we do just a pretty basic decimal problem where I'm dealing with tenths. And the one below it, you see that I have a little bit different problem here. So we'll see how we do this one. So on this one, again, I'm going to start with drawing my rectangle, just like I did before. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, there we go. And then what I see here, what I'd like for my students to notice here is that we have this one right here, which is representing tenths again. So that's a full long one, just like this. And then this one, this one is actually 2 of them. So there's another one, like that. And again, I can color in any of these long ones that I want. But then I also want them to notice that these are also the same size. They're tenths. So that means I can color in 4 of those. This long one. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now I've done the 2 tenths and the 4 tenths, and now I have this one left. Now this one is a lot smaller, and since these are a lot smaller, I need to turn those into hundredths, and so then that is going to be going this direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And now I come back over here, and this says that I want to have 3 of these hundredths. So there's 1, 2, 3 of the hundredths there. And this one tells me I want to have 1 of the hundredths. So that's 1 right there. So what I have total is 0 and 0 because I don't have the whole thing filled in. So that means I don't have a hole. But I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tenths and 1, 2, 3, 4 hundredths. So 0.64 for the adding that way. So that's one way that we could do it when we have two different size shapes. Is I fill in the I fill in the ones that I have, that I know that I have, the tenths, and then I break them up into the hundredths so that I can then do the 3 and the 1. Okay. All right, so now we're going to go on to subtraction. That was a quick little review of Monday. So now for subtraction, we have this one. Make sure I'm on the screen there. Pretty good. A little bit. Okay. So for subtraction, what I'm going to start with is, probably what you could guess, is I'm going to start with a box. So here's the box that I start with, just like before. And because I'm dealing with tenths, I'm going to break it up into tenths. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And what this tells me is that right now I have 0.8 or 8 tenths. So I'm going to go ahead and color in 8 tenths. So here's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now this tells me to, as we learned from our integers and subtraction of fractions, take away. So now what I'm doing is I'm taking away 3 tenths. So here is a 3 tenths. I'm just going to X it out like that. 2, there's another tenth, and here's my 3rd tenth. So I'm Xing out these, or taking those away, and what I'm left with is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tenths. So that would be equal to 0.5. So just like we did before when we were doing subtraction problems, we're going to take away what the second number is. Okay? So now look at this one, number 2. Again, I start with my rectangle. Break it up into tenths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. That last tenth is pretty big. Let me get that out of there a little bit. Better. Okay. And so I'm going to start with what I have. And what I have to begin with is 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But then I also have those hundredths. So to get hundredths in, remember we need to cut it across going horizontally. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And now I can plug in my next 3, which are 1, 2, and 3, like that. So then what I'm going to do is this tells me to take away 2 tenths and 1 100th. So here are the tenths that I can take away. I can take away that tenth and that tenth. Okay, so those are taken away. And then I can take away this 100th. So then what I'm left with is 1 2 tenths. So this equals 0.2, and then 2 100ths, so 0.22. So that way I showed that I took away all 2 of these tenths by taking away those long ones there, and then 1 of these 100ths by taking away that little one there. All right, and then the last type down here at the bottom is when we have tenths in one and hundredths in the other. See how that looks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then I'm going to once again color in my 7. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then this tells me to take away 3/10 and 2 100ths. So I can start taking my 3/10 right here. I got 1/10 right there that I can take away. A 2nd tenth right there I took away. And my 3rd tenth. I hope this is showing up okay on the video. So I took away these 3/10, but then I also have to take away 2 100ths. So to take away 2 100ths, I need to go horizontal to make the 100ths. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And now I can take away these 2 100ths, and I can take away that one there, and I can take away that one there. So then what I'm left with is 1, 2, 3/10, 0.3, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 100ths. So 0.38 for my final answer. Okay, so a couple things on adding and subtracting is that I'm never going to give you numbers that go beyond 100th in order to show it, because the next number down would be one of these boxes broken up into 10. So they're super, super small pieces. So for adding and subtracting fraction or decimals, they'll either be 1 decimal place or 2 decimal places, but I'll never do 3 decimal places because that's just too small to draw. It doesn't make any sense. Okay, so that's adding and subtracting. And the last one we're going to go over today is multiplication. So let me get this set up again, make sure that it's on the camera. It's not. Scoot it over a little bit. It's a little better. Okay. So for this one, big surprise, what we're going to do, it's again, very similar to fraction. So I'm going to start with a box. And I'm going to break it into tenths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And I'm going to go ahead and color in 3 of them. And you see that this time I'm not coloring it all the way in. I'm just using diagonal lines, and you'll see why in just a second, I think. And now, to do the 0.2, I need to cut it into tenths going the opposite direction, just like in fractions. So we put both of them in the same one. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oof, that's a lot bigger. And 10. Okay? And now on this one, I'm going to diagonally go with a different color, 0.2 or 2 tenths. So that's this one. This one, okay, and then just like in fractions, my answer is where the section is double shaded, where there's 2 colors in the same boxes. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that is 0 point, and because the size of these are hundredths, I don't have any tenths, so that's a 0, and then I have 6 hundredths, so 0.06 would be my final answer for that one. All right, and this one I'm actually going to change. I don't like that number. I'm going to change it to a 6. I'll change it to a 3 actually. That's better. Okay, so 0.3 times 0.8. So again, I'm going to start with my rectangle. Big rectangle. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I don't know why horizontal, but I guess it doesn't matter. You can do whichever one you want first. So on this one, I'm going to go these ones. So there's one. I'll do this one. And I'll do this one. So there's my 3/10. And now to do the 8/10, I need to cut it going the opposite direction, just like we did with fractions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That last one over there is my giant 10. And this time I need to cut it into 8/10. So that's going to be a lot of them. So I'm going to go there's 2. And this will be my third one. Fourth. Fifth. Sixth. Again, it doesn't matter which ones you cut. And I'll do, I'm at 6 there, 7. And this will be my 8th. Notice that I'm not coloring it all the way in because I want to be able to see which ones have 2 colors, or I want my students to be able to see which ones have 2 colors. So now to write the final answer for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to count up all of my hundredths place that I have. So I have 0 point, that's bad blue, so I have 0 point, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. I must have miscounted because I can't have 25. Let me try that again. 1, 2, I count that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. That's better. So I have 24 hundredths, which means I have 2 longs and 4 units. Okay, so when I count up all 24 of those, that's how I write it. It's going to be 2 of the tenths and then 4 of the hundredths, not longs and units, excuse me. Okay, so that's multiplication. That's how you show adding, subtracting, and multiplying decimals. And when you do the decimals, I'm always going to keep it a tenth times a tenth. Again, for the same reason, if I do 2 decimal places here, like say 1/8, we're talking super small in each side of these because we're getting out here to the thousandths, and I'm not going to do that to you. So for fractions or for decimals of adding and subtracting, they could be 2 decimal places. For multiplying, it's only going to be 1 decimal place. Okay, so that's it for multiplying, adding, and subtracting decimals. Hopefully it makes sense and you'll be able to do the homework that's on the blackboard tonight. See you guys on Friday. I'll answer any questions that you might have Friday.